All right, for today's deep dive, we're going to look at something that you might just scroll past on a website.
Something that looks pretty simple, but is actually, incredibly important for high-end systems.
We're talking about a single piece of hardware, the Aurora RK5-3K. It's a 19-inch 3RU, 2-gang, 1-device rack mount kit.
Right, and our mission here is to sort of decode that alphabet soup of part numbers.
And show you why these really specific details, 19 inches, 3RU, this gang thing, are actually critical.
They represent huge infrastructure decisions.
Okay, so let's unpack this. The RK5-3K, what's its main job?
Well, at its core, it's a specialized rack mount kit for Aurora multimedia devices.
And the price is around $160, which, I mean, that alone tells you something.
Exactly. That's not a generic piece of metal you'd buy at a hardware store. This is purpose-built.
So let's get into those specs. 19-inch width.
That's the absolute standard. It has to be 19 inches to fit in any modern equipment rack, period.
And 3RU.
It takes up 3 rack units of vertical space. It's a precise measurement, and that space is the foundation for, a clean professional installation.
But the really clever part seems to be how it handles components that were never designed for a rack in the first place.
Yes, that's the gang compatibility. It can hold either one 2-gang wall plate or 2 1-gang wall devices.
Okay, you have to explain what a gang is for our listeners.
Think of the light switch on your wall. That's typically a 1-gang opening. The double switch would be 2-gang. It's a standard size for in-wall controls.
So this kit takes things that are supposed to go on a wall and lets you mount them perfectly in a rack.
That's it, exactly. It bridges that gap.
But hold on, why can't an installer just, use a generic shelf and maybe some zip ties? Why pay $160 for this?
Because in professional settings, like a corporate boardroom or a government facility, improvisation isn't an option. It's just not allowed.
Ah, so it's about reliability.
Reliability, proper ventilation, warranties, clean cable management. It's the engineered official solution. Anything else is just asking for trouble down the line.
Okay, so the physical side makes sense, but the source material brings up something else that feels a little, out of place for a bracket.
The compliance stuff.
Yeah, exactly. It says TAA compliant and has no tariffs. That's a strange selling point.
It seems strange, but for their target market, those two details are massive budget and regulatory drivers.
Okay, how so?
Well, no tariffs is a clear cost-saving measure, right?
Mm.
But the TAA compliance, that's the Trade Agreements Act. That's the real key.
And what does that mean in practice?
It means the product has to be made, or at least substantially transformed, in the U.S. or a designated partner country. The source explicitly links this to government purchasing.
So if you want to sell to the U.S. government, you need this TAA sticker.
You absolutely do. It's a non-negotiable requirement for any federal contract. And it really limits where you can manufacture your products.
Wow. So that $160 price tag starts to make a lot more sense. It's not just metal, it's certified compliant metal.
Right. And it shows you just how much government procurement rules can shape an entire product line.
So let's talk about what kind of system this thing supports. What's it actually holding in the rack?
The list of compatible gear tells the whole story. We're talking about things like the DXB8iG2, which is an 8-button control pad, or the DXW2, a wall plate for HDMI and VGA.
So user-facing controls and inputs.
Exactly, but also much more advanced stuff. The sources also mentioned 4K video distribution plates, powerful presentation scalers, and even those advanced beamforming Dante microphones you see at big trade shows.
So this simple 3RU bracket is basically the foundation for these extremely complex high-bandwidth systems.
It's the quiet essential component. It's the invisible but standardized bridge that makes the expensive high-tech parts work reliably and, just as importantly, comply with those strict purchasing rules.
So when you put it all together, it's kind of amazing. We've learned that by looking at one small, almost boring piece of equipment.
You actually reveal the entire ecosystem of technical demands. The 3RU sizing, the gang compatibility, and the critical compliance rules like TAA that govern the whole pro AV world.
It's all connected.
It is. And that leaves us with a final provocative thought for you to consider.
Let's hear it.
Given how absolutely critical TAA compliance is for a relatively simple rack kit, just think about how much these seemingly minor hidden sourcing and manufacturing mandates are shaping the entire design and cost of every single piece of professional electronics you use every day.
That's our deep dive. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you on the next one.